Heartwarming tears lead to an incredible discovery, a mysterious billionaire's life-changing call. In the heart of Maplewood, Sarah Mitchell felt the weight of dawn pressing against her chest like an unyielding tide. Every morning, before the sun painted the sky in strokes of pink and gold, she'd rise with the roosters, throwing on her worn apron with an enthusiasm that belied her exhaustion. The diner was her sanctuary, and each steaming cup of coffee she served to regulars was laced with a warm smile and the familiarity of home. The patrons, her loyal family in this small town, had unknowingly become the shield against the relentless storm brewing in her life, but behind that busy counter, joy was tempered by worry. Just the night before, Jake had slammed the door in her face after yet another argument about grades and friends. He was a troubled teen, drifting further from her reach, and the looming foreclosure notice on their family farm echoed her heartache. The farm, left to her by her late mother, was more than just land. It was a tether to her past, a symbol of resilience. Losing it would mean losing the last piece of her mother, every grain of soil tinged with memories of laughter and love. As Sarah poured coffee, she glanced around the diner, her heart swelling as laughter filled the air. Old man Harlan stood at the counter, regaling the younger staff with tales of his youth, while Mrs. Caldwell knotted a sweater at her side, grandson by her knee. A flicker of gratitude warmed Sarah's heart. The townsfolk could always be counted on in hard times. Yet pride pricked like a thorn. She craved help but feared the sense of failure that came with it. Then there was her father, a stubborn veteran with closely held beliefs about independence and self-reliance, beliefs that often drove a wedge between them. He couldn't grasp her desperation. Instead, he criticized her pleas for support as weakness. He labeled her struggle a consequence of poor choices, igniting the resentment that had simmered for years. The air grew thick during their exchanges, the love they shared tainted by the shadows of unspoken hurt. Just as Sarah wrestled with her doubts about the charity event the townsfolk had organized to help her, the phone rang. She grabbed it, breathless as if standing on the precipice of a cliff. A voice filled the line, deep and compelling: Jacob Sterling. The name sent shockwaves through her. The billionaire recalled dining at her diner as a child, his fond memories somehow tied to her world. And then came the offer, a lifeline that could save her farm, but at a cost that felt heavy on her conscience. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As she hung up, tears stung her eyes. Jacob's offer felt like a betrayal to her mother's legacy, even as her heart leaped at the possibilities. Would she be sacrificing everything she believed in for the sake of survival? The upcoming charity event weighed on her mind like an anchor, pulling her toward the depths of uncertainty. In the days leading to the event, the town buzzed with excitement, yet doubt clouded Sarah's heart. Would she accept Jacob's help and surrender her pride? Or would she choose to fight for her family's honor and what it truly means to rely on one another? The clock ticked down, leaving Sarah standing at a crossroads, her next steps tinged with emotional complexity. As the curtain of night fell upon Maplewood, the question lingered: in her quest for hope, had she already lost sight of what it truly meant to be family? Morning arrived with a freshness that promised new beginnings, though Sarah felt anchored by the weight of her choices. The sun streamed through the diner's windows, casting golden shadows on the checkered floor, but the brightness did little to lift the fog in her heart. The charity event loomed ahead, barely a week away, and her thoughts were a jumbled mess. The allure of Jacob's offer was enticing, yet the fear of losing herself, of letting go of her family's pride, grew steadily stronger. She wiped the counter absent-mindedly, replaying the conversation with Jacob in her mind. What if she did take his help? Would people see her as weak? Would the town judge her for accepting money from a stranger, a billionaire? She longed for clarity but was caught in an emotional whirlwind that left her breathless. A sudden burst of laughter pulled her from her thoughts. Jake walked in, his usual stormy demeanor replaced with a flicker of curiosity. He spotted Sarah working and ambled toward the counter, hands stuffed in his pockets. "Is the coffee any good today?" he teased lightly, trying to break the ice that had thickened between them. Sarah felt her heart warm, a small flicker of hope igniting. "Just as good as always," she replied, managing a smile. "How about you? No more trouble in class?" He shrugged, the animosity of their past arguments fading, if only for a moment. "Nah, just the usual. Mrs. Carter is still on my case, though." They shared a laugh, and for the first time in weeks, it felt like they were two normal people again, mother and son, sharing a fleeting moment of connection amidst the chaos. "Why don't you help me set up for the charity event?" "I could use an extra pair of hands," Sarah suggested, her heart hopeful at the prospect of working together for a common cause. "Yeah, maybe," he replied, an uncertain tone creeping in. I don't want to make it weird." She nodded, understanding that change didn't come easy. "It won't be weird, I promise. Just a chance for us to bond, you know?" Jake looked thoughtful for a moment and nodded. "Okay, I'll help." As they made plans for the event, a sense of solidarity wrapped around Sarah. The more Jake engaged with her, the lighter her chest felt. If she poured her energy into the event, perhaps she could distract herself from Jacob's offer and the impending storm over their farm. Later that evening, Sarah sat at the diner after closing hours, the quiet settling in like a comforting blanket. She gazed at the walls lined with photographs of her mother, the evidence of her legacy a bittersweet reminder of what was at stake. The telephone sat silent, its cord coiled like her unresolved feelings. Before she knew it, she dialed Jacob's number, tears slipping down her cheeks as she fought the urge to hang up. She pressed the phone to her ear, the sound of her heartbeat loudly echoing in her mind. When the voice on the other end answered, she felt raw and exposed. I need to talk," she managed, her voice steadier than she felt. The warmth in Jacob's tone gave her courage. "I'm here, Sarah. What's on your mind?" In that instant, she knew there would be no turning back. What had once felt like a lifeline now loomed as a choice that could change everything. As she poured out her heart, she realized the deeper truth wasn't about the farm or acceptance, but about forging her own path, no matter how daunting it seemed. With her heart racing and every word weighing heavier than the last, she took a breath. "I need to know what it means to rely on someone else." Just as the words slipped out, the electrical hum of the phone interrupted the silence. Darkness loomed outside her window, a storm threatening just beyond the horizon, leaving her teetering on the edge of her decision. Would she step into the unknown, or retreat to the safety of her past? What awaited her on the other side of this unexpected journey? The silence hung heavy after Sarah's confession, and for a moment, it felt as if the world had paused. Jacob's surprised pause left her feeling vulnerable, exposed, teetering on the brink of a revelation she both craved and feared. The storm outside rumbled softly, mirroring the turmoil within her. "Sarah," Jacob said gently, pulling her back from the edge. "Relying on someone doesn't mean you're weak. It's about trust, faith. It's part of what builds us as human beings. I can help you, but it's not a handout, it's a partnership. We can work together." His words filled the void with warmth, a promise of solidarity that she desperately needed. A sob threatened to escape her throat, but she swallowed it down. "I just don't want to lose my independence," she admitted, her voice cracking as tears flowed freely now, soft trails of salt on her cheeks that he let out a small, soft chuckle. "I get that. I'm not trying to take your independence away. If anything, I want to help you reclaim it, by lifting that weight off your shoulders." The idea of partnership shifted something inside her. Maybe this wasn't just about her needing help, it could be about building a future she desired. The more she thought about the possibility, the lighter she felt, the storm clouds inside her head clearing just a bit. "I can't promise I'll jump in with both feet," she said, finding her voice steadier now. "But I'm willing to consider it. Let us take it one step at a time." His reassurance wrapped around her like a blanket against the chilly air seeping through the diner. They talked late into the night, their voices mingling with the soft patter of rain against the diner's windows. Sharing their fears, dreams, and wishes, the connection between them deepened in a way Sarah hadn't anticipated. She realized that perhaps Jacob wasn't just a stranger with a fortune. He could be a mentor, an ally, a friend. As the clock ticked late into the night, she sensed a faint light breaking through her doubts. The idea of facing the charity event with Jake by her side and a plan in mind made her heart flutter. While creating a new legacy, maybe she could navigate these uncertain waters with newfound courage. The next morning, Sarah woke to a new energy coursing through her. She arrived at the diner with a determination she hadn't felt in weeks, embracing the idea of possibilities rather than devastation. Jake arrived shortly after, groggy yet curious. "Well, good morning. Ready to get this charity event on the road?" she asked, matching his sleepy grin. He gave her a sideways look, skepticism lifting slowly. "I guess it can't be that bad, right?" "Exactly. We're gonna make it fun." With every word, confidence swirled within her, bringing light back into their relationship. As they brainstormed ideas for the event, Sarah's thoughts turned to Jacob. What if she were to invite him to join the event, to see the heart and soul of their community? It could be a chance for everyone to see beyond his wealth and connect to the man willing to help them. However, a lingering thought gnawed at her. Would this be too much too soon? Would she utterly regret opening that door? Jake caught a glimpse of her pensive expression. "You okay, Mom?" "Yeah, I'm just thinking," she replied, a nervous smile pulling at her lips. But deep inside, she knew the truth. She was afraid of what opening up this new life could mean. Could it be a step toward freedom or something entirely different? Or would she find herself facing another storm? As the day unfolded, questions raced like wild horses in her mind. Whatever lay ahead, she knew one thing. She needed to confront those fears head-on. Would this event be the leap she needed, or would it pull her deeper into uncertainty? The answers loomed close, just beyond her grasp. As the sun poured through the diner windows the next day, Sarah felt an unfamiliar warmth that chased away the dreariness of the past few weeks. There was a sense of renewed purpose in the air. She was on the brink of something new, as if the universe had aligned to push her forward. Her mind raced with ideas for the charity event, each one brighter than the last. They could host a silent auction, or perhaps a bake sale where local talents could shine. The thought of involving the community sparked something within her, a flicker of the joy she had longed for. "All right, what do you think about a potluck?" Jacob suggested, leaning back in his chair, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "Get everyone to bring their best dish? I hear Grandma Taylor makes a mean apple pie." "Oh, that's perfect!" Sarah exclaimed, her face lighting up. "Everyone loves food. It's a way for the community to showcase what they've got, plus, we can get them talking, sharing stories." Jake nodded, enthusiasm growing. "It'll be like a little festival. But we need a theme to draw them in, something catchy." The back and forth banter between them felt like a breath of fresh air. Jacob's presence, his easy laughter, made even the most daunting tasks seem manageable. "Maybe taste of home?" she suggested, her excitement palpable. "People can share their culture, their family recipes. It's a way to celebrate our community as well." Jacob's smile grew wider, his approval evident. "I love it. Not only does it invite everyone in, but it'll showcase the heart of our neighborhood." As they continued to flesh out the details, Sarah felt a growing sense of camaraderie with Jacob. Their collaboration had transformed her anxiety into vibrant energy, each idea sparking confidence inside her. But just as she was about to suggest reaching out to the local radio station to promote the event, the phone rang, slicing through the cozy atmosphere. "Can you grab that?" Jacob asked, pointing to the phone, his fingers absent-mindedly drumming on the table. "Sure." Sarah picked up the receiver, but before she could greet the caller, a low, deep voice filled her ear. "Is this Sarah Miller?" Her heart skipped a beat. "Yes, this is she." "Sarah, this is Marcus Lane." The name struck her like a lightning bolt. Marcus Lane was a name tied to whispers and visions of grandeur, a well-known philanthropist and entrepreneur. What can I do for you?" she stammered, glancing at Jacob, who was now leaning closer, his eyes wide with curiosity. "I've been informed about your upcoming charity event and wanted to offer my assistance," he said, each word flowing smoothly as if rehearsed. I believe we could work together. Sarah's mind raced. The implications were exhilarating yet terrifying. Was this the opportunity she had been craving? It felt like she was standing on the edge of a cliff, about to jump into the unknown. One misstep and she could fall. Thank you, but she faltered, searching for the right words. Why would you want to help me? There was a brief silence on the other end, and then Marcus replied, because I believe in potential, Sarah, and I see it in you. This event could be the beginning of something extraordinary for both of us. Join me. Her heart pounded. This could change everything. The possibilities flooded her mind, but so did the fear of what accepting help from someone like him could mean. Can I think about it? She asked, hesitantly. Of course. But don't take too long. You might find you don't want to miss out on what's ahead. As she hung up the phone, the weight of the moment settled heavily on her shoulders. Jacob stared at her with a mix of apprehension and excitement. Who was that? He urged, leaning forward, his interest piqued. Marcus Lane, she whispered, her voice barely above a gasp. He wants to help with the event. Jacob's eyebrows shot up in surprise, but quickly his expression shifted to one of knowing concern. Wow, and how do you feel about that? She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Instead, a flurry of emotions washed over her: hope, fear, and a touch of excitement, all swirling together. Could this lead to the transformation she sought, or was it yet another test of her independence? Her heart raced as she realized she was staring down yet another storm, one that could either lift her to new heights or sweep her away. Would she take the leap or hold back? The decision loomed large, and Sarah knew she had to confront what lay ahead. Her future was tangled in the choices she would make next. Sarah sat there, staring into the distance, her thoughts racing. Jacob's voice broke through her haze. Sarah, this could be you finally stepping into something big. You've wanted to make a difference, right? His words resonated deeply within her. She had. But could she trust a man like Marcus? In the back of her mind, doubts gnawed at her. What would accepting his help mean? Would she lose control over the event she had poured her heart into? I know, she finally said, shaking her head slightly as if shaking off her doubt. But it feels overwhelming. I mean, it's South Marcus Lane. He's not just some local businessman, he's like an empire. Jacob interjected, a teasing grin on his face. Maybe, but sometimes empires need a little help from the ground up. And maybe that's you. Sarah couldn't help but smile at his words, even if they didn't completely alleviate her apprehension. They spent the next minutes brainstorming what a partnership with Marcus might look like. Deciding to reach out to him again felt like standing on the edge of a diving board, teetering between excitement and fear of plunging into icy waters. Eventually, they wrapped up their brainstorming session. Jacob looked at her, his expression earnest. No matter what you choose, I'm here for you. Don't forget that. Thanks, Jake. I appreciate your support, she replied, a wave of gratitude washing over her. After closing the diner for the day, Sarah headed home, her mind still spinning around the possibilities. Once inside, she dropped her bag on the kitchen table and sank into a chair. The air felt thick with unspoken decisions. As dusk cloaked the sky outside, she turned on her laptop to do some research on Marcus. What was it about him that made him want to invest in her small local charity event? The glow of the screen illuminated her determined face. It wasn't long before she stumbled upon articles praising Marcus's philanthropic efforts, helping schools, funding community projects, and being a mentor to numerous young entrepreneurs. The glowing words spoke of compassion, commitment, and moments that changed lives. As she read, something deep within her began to stir. Maybe he was genuine. Perhaps this was an opportunity to finally connect her community with the resources it desperately needed. Before she could second-guess herself, she grabbed her phone and began to draft a message to Marcus. It was a simple note, expressing her gratitude for his offer and her interest in discussing his vision further. Each word felt like a leap into the unknown, but she knew she had to do it. Taking a deep breath, she hit send and sat back, a mix of anticipation and anxiety swirling inside her. What would he say? What would happen next? Moments later, a reply chimed in, sending her heart racing. Looking forward to it, Sarah. Let us meet tomorrow morning at 10. I'll make it worth your while. That promptness ignited a new flame of energy within her. Her heart, once heavy, began to flutter. She was on the brink of something significant, something that could illuminate her path. But right as the excitement settled in, her phone buzzed again, this time a message from an unknown number. Confused, she opened it and gasped. Don't trust him, Sarah. I know Marcus. He has his reasons for everything he does. Be careful. Her stomach dropped, a cold shiver racing down her spine. Who could this person be? Why were they warning her? An unsettling knot formed in her chest as she stared at the screen, teetering on the edge between hope and fear. Had she made a mistake before she even met Marcus? Deep down, she knew she had to dig deeper. She couldn't let fear cloud her judgment. She had to find out the truth. The choices she faced loomed larger than ever, yet another storm may be on the horizon, and she would have to decide which way the winds would blow. With a new determination, Sarah set herself to uncover the truth behind Marcus Lane. How far would she go to protect what she was building, and what dark secrets might she uncover in the process? Morning sunlight streamed through the kitchen windows, casting warm rays across the scattered papers and half-finished coffee cups. Sarah blinked against the brightness, her heart still racing from the message she received the night before. She kept replaying the words in her head. Don't trust him. It echoed like a warning bell, but the urgency of their unknown sender left more questions than answers. Taking a deep breath, she tried to shake off the tension as she poured another cup of coffee. Meeting Marcus today felt monumental, but would she be stepping into something great or something perilous? With the clock inching closer to 10, she rushed to get ready, her mind ablaze with possibilities. As she dressed, she caught glimpses of herself in the mirror. Her reflection was a mixture of excitement and anxiety, a potent reminder that she was on the verge of a turning point. What if today could change everything? What if it didn't? She could find herself tangled in a web she hadn't anticipated. Arriving at the cafe, Sarah took a moment to absorb her surroundings. The sweet smell of pastries and the warm hum of conversation filled the air. She spotted a tall figure at a corner table from the window, flipping through pages of a thick notebook. It was Marcus. Just like in the pictures, he exuded confidence. But there was something else, an intensity behind his seemingly casual expression that sent a thrill of both anticipation and apprehension through her. Sarah. He greeted, rising to offer a firm handshake. Thanks for meeting with me. I've been looking forward to this. Me too, she replied, feigning steadiness. They both sat, and Sarah took a sip of her coffee to quell her fluttering nerves. But as they dove into conversation, she found herself captivated by his energy. It was easy to get lost in his ideas about community engagement and transforming resources into real change. His passion was infectious. As they discussed her event further, Sarah felt the initial unease begin to peel away. Yet that lingering warning echoed in her mind. She knew she needed to tread carefully, maintaining her agency while assessing this partnership. Sarah, I believe in what you're doing here, he said, his voice steady. I want to help you reach people who may not know about your work. Imagine what we could do together. His words sparked a flicker of hope within her. But the memory of that ominous text felt like a shadow hovering over their budding rapport. Gaining insight amidst his charisma felt crucial. Marcus, I appreciate that. But, what does it mean for my team and me? I don't want to lose sight of our vision. He leaned back, eyes narrowing slightly as he considered her words. I wouldn't dream of it. You'd remain in control, I'm merely a supporter. But I'm also aware that there are risks involved. What kind of risks? She watched his expression carefully, measuring the sincerity behind his eyes. I just want to make sure you're aware of who I am. There are some out there who view my success as a threat or a target. He spoke with a mixture of pride and caution. But in your case, I believe it's a chance for something positive. This isn't about me, it's about the community. The atmosphere shifted. Sarah felt a rush of emotion. Could he truly mean what he said? She saw a glimpse of vulnerability beneath his confident exterior, and her instincts were pulled in two directions. Could she trust him while navigating the fog of uncertainty? Before she could respond, her phone buzzed once more. Her heart sank as she saw the same unknown number. Unable to resist, she opened the message. Be careful, Sarah. There's more to Marcus than you realize. Who was this person? Why did they care? Doubts roared back to life inside her. She focused on Marcus, his voice still flowing with ideas. But now, another narrative snaked through her mind, one of secrets, deception, and the complexity of trust. What had she stepped into? Are you okay? Marcus asked, noticing her pause. You seem distracted. Was this the moment she had to make a choice? To trust or to doubt? Suddenly, a decision loomed larger than the cafe around them. With her heart pounding, Sarah faced him, preparing to bridge that ever-widening chasm of uncertainty. Would she reveal the warning? Or continue to explore? She had to find out how deep this rabbit hole went. Time to decide just how far she was willing to plunge into the unknown. Sarah's pulse quickened as she gazed into Marcus's eyes, battling a whirlwind of emotions. He was charismatic, undeniably so, with an aura that commanded attention. But the fear that accompanied the unknown message clawed at her conscience. She needed clarity, yet here sat this powerful figure, seemingly eager to help. Marcus, can we slow down a bit? She finally asked, her voice steadier than she felt. She took a deep breath, hoping the words would sound more coherent than the chaotic thoughts racing through her mind. I just want to understand everything before things get too serious. He nodded, his expression shifting slightly, a flicker of respect crossing his face. Of course, Sarah. I want you to feel comfortable. That's important to me. She could feel the weight of his stare as she collected her thoughts. There were facets of their conversation she wanted to probe deeper. You mentioned risks. What did you mean by that? Marcus leaned in, his voice lowering to a near whisper. In my line of work, trust is hard to come by. You see, when someone is successful, it can be terrifying for others. You have to be aware that not everyone will share your vision or goodwill. She nodded slowly. I understand that, but it's hard to reconcile when I just got a message someone telling me I shouldn't trust you. His eyes narrowed with intrigue. Who would say that? What do they know? She hesitated, weighing the impact of spilling her insecurities to him. But the tinge of betrayal in that message made it feel necessary. I don't know. The number was unknown. But they warned me about you, saying there's more to your story. For a moment, silence wrapped around them like a heavy blanket. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Would he lash out? Instead, Marcus remained composed, searching her face as if trying to decipher her thoughts. Sarah, I can see how that would raise alarm bells, he finally said, his tone surprisingly gentle. I assure you that my intentions are genuine. However, if someone is trying to manipulate you against me, I need to know who they are. The sincerity in his voice was disarming, but doubt lingered at the edges of her mind. I just want to protect my team and our mission. We've worked hard for this. Then let us work together, and I'll prove myself. His enthusiasm ignited a spark within her, illuminating the possibility of connecting not just with someone who could help her reach a larger audience, but with a friend. Okay, she said, feeling a knot in her stomach begin to loosen. Let us start fresh. What would our collaboration look like? Marcus leaned back, the tension in the air dissipating slightly as he began to sketch out his vision. Sarah listened, her excitement building slowly, battling with her awareness of the shadows lurking just beneath the surface. She saw glimpses of a partnership that could amplify her efforts, yet his cryptic past hung heavily, threatening to taint her hopes. But then, as she began to envision their combined mission, her phone buzzed yet again. The familiar fraying of nerves returned. Alarmed, she glanced down. This time, it was a different number, one she recognized, the phone number of her best friend, Caitlin. Frowning, she opened the message. "Hey, I just saw someone. I think they're watching you." Her stomach dropped, the joy she'd just felt fading rapidly. Panic crept in again, knitting urgency into her heart. "Sarah?" Marcus's concern broke through, and his hand reached across the table. "You look pale. What's happening?" His touch was warm, grounding her momentarily. But the growing sense of danger stole her breath. "I need to go," she blurted, her voice shaky. "Go? Where?" He looked puzzled, emotions roiling together in the sudden urgency of the moment. "There might be someone following me. I can't explain." The thought of confronting whatever was happening sent a chill down her spine, but the unease wasn't purely about the stranger. It was tied to Marcus, too. Just as she stood up, determination flooded her thoughts. She couldn't back away now. She needed answers about Marcus, about the messages, and about the person watching her. Today had to reveal the truth, no matter the cost, and as she looked back at Marcus, his expression had shifted again, tension brewing beneath the surface. "You can't just leave like this, Sarah." Not now. Would this be the moment that led her deeper into the rabbit hole where trust might lead to revelation, or would it be a dangerous misstep? She didn't know. But one thing was clear, the line she was crossing could change everything. With resolve, she took a step toward the exit, heart pounding fiercely. And just before she pushed through the door, she turned back to him, knowing the stakes had never been higher. "I'll find out the truth. Just be ready for what's coming." The door swung closed behind Sarah, the click echoing in her ears like the finality of a gunshot. Outside, the hustle of the street washed over her, a chaotic contrast to the heavy feeling still lingering in the cafe. She could feel the adrenaline coursing through her veins, a trembling mixture of fear and determination. Her mind raced. Caitlin had never sent her a message like that before. She had always been her voice of reason, the one who checked her when her instincts got too frantic. This time was different, and Sarah felt the weight of that difference pressing down on her. Did Caitlin really see someone? A sense of urgency guided her steps as she moved toward the nearest intersection, scanning the sidewalks for any suspicious eyes. "Stay calm," she whispered to herself. "Just get to Caitlin." The sun filtered through the clouds, creating a surreal light around her. All she needed was a moment of clarity, a breath of fresh air away from the chaos that lingered at every corner. The previous conversation with Marcus played over and over in her mind. Could he really be trusted? His warmth, his passion, they felt right, yet they were also tangled with that unsettling feeling of mistrust. Was it possible he was hiding something important? Just as she reached the corner cafe where Caitlin worked, a shadow flickered across her path. Sarah turned instinctively, squinting against the brightness to see a figure standing across the street, watching her. Her heart sank. The feeling of being observed clawed at her again, stronger this time. What if the warning about Marcus was real? What if this was all connected? Panic washed over her, but she fought to hold it back, pressing forward toward her friend. Bursting through the door of the cafe, she spotted Caitlin behind the counter, her face lighting up when she saw her. "Sarah!" Caitlin called, stepping away from the espresso machine as customer chatter faded into the background. "Thank God you're here. I didn't know what to do." Caitlin's distress heightened the sense of urgency coursing through Sarah. "What did you see?" she asked breathlessly, leaning in close. Caitlin lowered her voice, casting a cautious glance toward the window. It was a man. He's been standing across the street for a while, just watching. It's creepy. I thought maybe you'd notice and come in. Sarah's stomach twisted. Did he look familiar? Did he follow you? I couldn't tell, Caitlin said, her voice trembling. He just kept looking at you. I was scared to come out, but I felt you needed to know. Something in the way Caitlin spoke made a knot form in Sarah's throat. Could it be someone connected to Marcus? Panic began to rise again as she thought of their plans and how swiftly things were unraveling. Caitlin looked alarmed. You don't really trust him, do you? I mean, after that message. No. Sarah's voice was stronger than she felt. I want to, but everything's falling apart. If I want to protect our project, I need to figure this out. Taking a steadying breath, Sarah glanced outside again, searching for the man who had stirred such fear. When she spotted him lingering by a lamppost, something in his posture triggered a memory, a flash of a recent photograph she had seen while planning her social media campaign. It was strange, but the image seemed to fit what she was seeing now. Was this a coincidence? As the figure shifted, her mind raced to connect the dots. She needed evidence, something concrete to confront him with, to bring to light whatever was lurking in the shadows. "Stay close to me," she said, her voice firm. "We need to get a closer look." Determination surged within her. "I don't know," Sarah Caitlin hesitated, fear evident in her eyes. "Trust me. We'll face this together." With that, Sarah stepped out of the cafe, her heart pounding as she walked toward the mysterious figure. It felt like stepping onto the edge of a knife, each step a threat to her safety, and yet there was no turning back now. What awaited her could shatter everything she and Caitlin had built, or reveal incredible truths hidden under the surface. As she drew closer, the unease prickled along her skin, igniting a fire in her gut. Only one thought echoed relentlessly in her mind: was this man a threat, or was he the key to unlocking the mystery that could change everything? Sarah's heart raced as she and Caitlin edged closer to the figure. The sun glinted off his dark hair, framing a sharp, serious face that seemed oddly familiar. A chill swept through her. He appeared to be watching, waiting. What could he want? Was this all just a coincidence, or something far more sinister? "Keep your head down," Sarah murmured to Caitlin, who was scanning the crowd, her fingers nervously fiddling with the hem of her shirt. They were stepping onto a once familiar street, but it felt foreign now. Every passerby seemed like a potential witness, and her mind swirled with how easily dangers could hide in plain sight. As they neared, the man shifted again, eyes narrowing, and for one fleeting moment, their gazes locked. There was something unsettling in his deep-set eyes, a blend of recognition and intent that made Sarah's stomach churn. "Who are you?" she called out, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and fear. She didn't wait for his answer, feeling the urgency bubbling over. "What do you want?" Caitlin grabbed Sarah's arm, both support and warning. "Maybe we should just go, not without an answer." Sarah's resolve solidified. She wouldn't back down now. This was about more than her fears, it was about their project, their future. To her surprise, the man stepped forward. "Sarah Hughes?" he said, his voice low, steady. "You may not remember me, but we have unfinished business." "You know me?" A startled laugh escaped her lips, but the tension weighed heavily in the air. "Who are you?" "James. James Connors." Recognition flickered in her mind. The photographer from the charity event a few months back, the one who had talked to her about social media strategies. You're the one with the magazine project," she said slowly. "I remember now." "Exactly. The project I wanted you to potentially collaborate on. But this is urgent, and you're in danger." Caitlin stepped closer, her expression unreadable. "Danger? From who?" "From someone trying to sabotage your work," he answered, his gaze flickering back to the street as if expecting shadows to emerge. "I need to talk to you both. In private." A shiver ran down Sarah's spine. "You can't be serious. How are we supposed to trust you?" "I'm here to help, but every moment we waste could put you both at risk." The words hung in the air, dense and ominous. Sarah and Caitlin exchanged glances. "Fine. But we're not going anywhere until we know you're not playing games with us," Sarah said, fists clenched. James nodded, the corner of his mouth twitching upwards. "I understand. I just need you to follow me. I swear, I'm on your side." She hesitated, rational thoughts clashing with a gut instinct that warned her to be wary. Yet the urgency hanging in the air pulled her in. "This way," she said reluctantly, motioning for Caitlin to follow as she stepped back from the sidewalk, beckoning him along. Every step felt like wading through thick fog, her senses alert. As they entered an alley, Sarah's mind spun with possibilities. What could he possibly know? Had he seen something she had missed? Within seconds, they were engulfed in shadows, the noise of the street fading away as her heart raced. She felt trapped yet compelled to peel back the layers of this mystery. Okay, James started, glancing around cautiously. Here's the thing, the threat is more serious than you both realize. A chilling fear enveloped Sarah, making her question everything she thought she knew. With each word from James, the tension turned electric. What came next could turn their lives upside down forever. Wait, what do you mean by threat? Sarah pressed, gripping Caitlin's hand for support. Who's after us? The answer hung in the air, sweetened by hope yet riddled with uncertainty. She felt her pulse quicken, the revelation promising change, but was she ready for the truth? Would it shatter her world or save it? As James opened his mouth to speak, an echo of footsteps reverberated behind them, shattering the moment. Who else lurked in the shadows, threatening to unveil secrets better left buried? James turned sharply, his expression tightening. We have to move, he said urgently, glancing back at the entrance to the alley. The shadows lengthened around them, wrapping them in unease as Sarah's heart raced. Who's coming? She asked, anxiety twisting her stomach into knots. You can't just drop a bombshell and leave us hanging. Trust me, please, James replied, his voice hushed but firm. They don't come in numbers for nothing. We need to get out of here now. Feeling a mix of fear and determination, Sarah nodded. For the first time, she realized just how far this journey had taken her, how much was at stake, not just her farm or community efforts, but her safety, the safety of those she loved. Caitlin looked at Sarah, uncertainty reflected in her eyes. Should we really trust him? She whispered. I don't know, Sarah admitted, casting a wary glance toward the alley's entrance, where shadows shifted. But if there's a threat, we need to confront it. We can't let fear control us. James's gaze flicked past them, and he gestured with urgency. Follow me. I promise it's safe. Just stick close. Without another word, Sarah grabbed Caitlin's hand and they followed him deeper into the alley, the walls lined with graffiti that seemed to blur as they rushed past. The noise of the street faded, replaced by the sound of their hurried breaths. As they turned a corner, James stopped abruptly before a warehouse door, pushing it open just enough for them to slip inside. The dimness enveloped them, and Sarah felt a chill chase down her spine. Listen, James said, his voice low as he closed the door behind them, leaving the world behind. I've been tracking some unusual activity tied to your charity event. People have been asking questions about you, about the project. Some don't want to see you succeed. What kind of questions? Caitlin pressed, her voice steady. She was grounding Sarah in that moment, reminding her to focus. Specifically, they're interested in people supporting you. They see what you're working on and view it as a threat to their agenda. I can't tell you everything, it's complicated, but I need to ensure you two are kept safe while we figure this out. Safe from who? Sarah's stomach twisted at the implication. Is this connected to Marcus? Marcus Lane? James frowned, shaking his head. He's big in the philanthropic world, yes, but I don't think he's behind this. There are someone else's interests at play here, people who want to keep you in the dark. Questions swirled within Sarah. What did this all mean for her work, for her farm and community? The world felt like it was spiraling out of control. But in that dark warehouse, she felt a flicker of her earlier resolve ignite. If there's a threat, then we can't back down, Sarah said firmly, confidence rising. We have to keep moving forward with the charity event, expose whatever is happening. The community is counting on us. James met her gaze, surprise flickering across his face. You're sure? You're walking into a storm. Better to face the storm head-on than to sit back and wait for it to destroy everything, she replied, determination lacing her voice. We'll make this work, James. Together. A weight lifted as James nodded, respect blossoming in his eyes. All right. Then let us prepare. I'll reach out to some contacts who can help us secure the event. We'll bring light to the shadows lurking behind it. Sarah felt a surge of power, a profound sense that this was where her journey needed to lead. The battle for her family's legacy and community was far from over, but perhaps this was exactly what she needed to turn the tide. They slipped out of the warehouse and back into the bustling street, the sunlight hitting them like a beacon of hope. However, the storm within her continued to rage. She found herself glancing back at the alleyway, ready to confront whatever was waiting in the shadows. As they approached the diner and the life she cherished, determination fueled her steps. They would move forward, but this time, not just with heart, there would be strategy, there would be allies, and for the first time, she felt certain of her worth, of her power to manifest hope even in a whirlwind of uncertainty. The day of the charity event approached with fierce momentum. Sarah spent days rallying her community, transforming fear into action. The town rallied together, preparing to showcase their love, unity, and resilience in a way that left no room for doubt. On the day of the event, the diner glowed with warmth and positivity. Every corner burst with colors, laughter, and the delightful sense of homemade dishes. Families gathered, sharing stories and recipes, reminding Sarah that the heartbeat of Maplewood was vibrant and alive. As Sarah stood at the front, surrounded by supporters and friends, her heart swelled with pride. Even Marcus, who had once been just a looming question mark, arrived with additional support, his presence a chance for a fresh start, a second chance where hope and trust could flourish. Moments within the event felt like a healing balm for Sarah's soul. She watched Jake mingle with his friends, laughter rolling from his lips as they tossed ideas around for future events. Outside, James coordinated with some community members, his passion resonating within every word he spoke. The sunlight streamed through the diner's windows, bathing them all in a golden glow just like the warmth that filled her heart. And there, as the community united, the shadows began to recede. Sarah recognized that transformation didn't come from stepping back but stepping boldly into the unknown. She had found allies, a purpose, and the guts to trust. This was the moment she would hold on to, a testament of resilience, togetherness, and the undeniable strength of family, both chosen and blood. The event was a resounding success, and under the laughter and warmth amidst the community, Sarah wanted nothing more than to embrace this life fully, to honor her mother and create a legacy that stood strong against any storm. In the colorful swirl of joy, hope sprung anew. They weren't merely raising funds, they were binding their community tighter with every smile exchanged, every dish shared. And as Sarah looked around at the faces of those she loved, she knew, for the first time in a long time, everything was going to be okay. When the evening finally descended, with joy still buzzing in her heart, she pulled Jacob aside. "I want you to know how proud I am of you, Jake. We did this together." "Yeah, we did," he replied, his voice a refreshing echo of their earlier connection. "I'm glad you took that risk. It paid off." With the threat behind her, she stepped forward, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. And just like that, she didn't feel like she was alone anymore, because it turned out, in the face of obstacles, family kept growing, hope kept shining, and a life worth living was built not just by herself, but by the love and support of everyone around her. That's when she realized doors may close, but with community, hearts will always remain open, blossoming into a future never imagined. Now, if you found this journey inspiring, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like because it fuels the algorithm and helps us bring more heartfelt tales like this one. Don't wait not even one more second. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread the love and inspire a community together.